Hey guys, DRutter here in BC, Canada. It's February 1st, 2020. I'm just sitting here in my indoor medicine patch, just looking at my plants, and I thought I would put them up on the screen a little bit while I talk to you about something important, and that's related to cannabis and legalization of cannabis and the prohibition of cannabis, but it's also about the alternative media and truthers and the spread of real knowledge. It's something I've been doing for 12 years now on YouTube and a little bit longer on other parts of the internet, and it's something that's very important to me. I've become, I guess what you'd call a member of the alternative media. I do productions and I report on things that I see as important and I see as true, and I try and present my bias. I say what I believe about the topic as well, so that it can be determined whether or not my information is trustworthy by the listener. And this has sort of worked fairly well for me for a few years, although I've been very shadow banned, something I detected and spoke out about in 2012, and then in 2018 was vindicated. I've been called a conspiracy theorist and other things that actually aren't slurs, but anyway, people call me some things because I detected that there was shadow banning going on my channel, and paranoid, whack job, all that kind of stuff. Well, they came out and admitted that they had been doing it for many years in 2018, so it is a real thing. They do shadow ban, which means that they make it appear that your channel is still there to you, to your friends and supporters, but to the general public it's almost gone. It's almost impossible to find. You don't see it, it's not suggested, it's nearly deleted. So that happened to me a long time ago, and I've struggled on YouTube to not even make 9,000 subscribers at this point. And there's many people doing things like similar topics, like say for example Bitcoin or whatever. They'll put up a Bitcoin channel, say in 2017, and they can have millions of viewers now, and they're not paying for that. It's just there's that many people that go to Bitcoin channels. But my channel, which is a lot of Bitcoin coverage going back to 2011, does not get any of those views, and it is heavily hidden. One of the reasons I think is because I've been right the entire time. I knew about Bitcoin and I talked about it in 2011 and really went into it in depth in 2013 when many people still hadn't heard about it, not even once. Maybe on this channel, but most people had not heard at all about Bitcoin when I was talking about it heavily in 2013. So I have been right, and not just in my discussion of Bitcoin, but in my price predictions and analysis of Bitcoin. I've been right time and time again, and almost never wrong. In fact, probably not wrong at all, except in very small ways. I've almost been able to predict the Bitcoin chart completely, perfectly, right down to the day and the dollar in most cases. And most people don't know that. They've never heard of me. And I could go in for a long time about why that probably is, but that is just the case. And so I've covered cannabis activism and cannabis legalization from the grassroots, from the street level, and behind the scenes, footage and documentaries about cannabis legalization and the prohibition of cannabis that has been going on for so long in Canada. And I've been doing that for many years here on my channel. And the more I cover that, the more I'm shadow banned, the more I'm basically talking to myself and can't get my message out. And my message in the past few years, for many years in fact, I think starting in 2013 is when I started talking about this. Don't legalize cannabis. And I'm still saying that. Don't legalize cannabis. And now they want to legalize everything. They want to legalize magic mushrooms. They want to legalize everything. And you know what? My message is do not do that. And you can go back and look at why I started saying that. My very first video called Don't Legalize Cannabis. It was my 420th video in 2013, the very beginning of 2013. And I said don't legalize cannabis. And I was right. Because legalization is a lie. And I have a documentary called that, and I would like to make sure everyone has seen that. Please, it's only 45 minutes of your life. It will change your understanding of what legalization is. I have shown and proven that legalization is a scam. Across the board, across the world, it's a scam. The word legalization is only to tell us that they're going to control something, to tax it, to regulate it, to restrict it, and to continue prohibition. That is the exact opposite of what we're asking for. The word that we wanted to say, and then the word we wanted to demand, the concept we needed is decriminalization. That's the end of prohibition. That is, the laws, the bad laws that have been put in place around these substances go away. That's how you get rid of bad laws, is you get rid of them. You just get rid of them. You take them off the books. That's how it can be done. Laws can be enacted in 10 seconds with a signature, and they can be gotten rid of in the same way. We should have done that with cannabis prohibition. We should have just gotten rid of it. But no, legalization is only about control. So now we have patients going to prison in Canada for 14 years, activists, peaceful gardeners, people that have done nothing wrong except for transact, buy, sell, trade in cannabis and cannabis oils and extracts from the plant and baked goods. This is disgusting that a plant in 2020 is being prohibited at all in a place that considers itself free. So this legalization has just been a scam. There's basically government growers now, licensed by the government, just a very, very small number of people that have licenses called licensed producers, LPs. And we've been saying for years, no LP monopoly. What does that mean? We've been saying we don't want there to be a monopoly on who can produce and sell cannabis, because that creates corruption. That creates a black market. It creates corruption in the white market, and it creates a black market to match that white market. Because if you make something illegal, people will get it anyway. They will get it one way or the other, especially if it's important to them, like the cure for cancer, which cannabis is. And you can see my link on that down below if you haven't got that news yet. But the point of this video is to talk about alternative media. And alternative media, which I am a member of, I guess, so there's no real card-carrying, organization or anything, but the alternative media is people who are spreading knowledge, spreading truth, spreading information and news, and doing it in a non-commercialized way. So a lot of us are independent, just single people, just, with channels and blogs and vlogs and different places we post our information to. And we get known as people that are good sources of information or good sources of analysis or both. And this has been the way it's been done for a long time on YouTube, and that is being broken down now with all this censorship we're seeing in the past few years. Anything that's not mainstream is being demonetized, is being censored, is being shadow banned, and they're now being open about it, not just doing it secretly and calling people paranoid that notice it, but they're doing it openly and admitting it. So if we have no real freedom on the internet anymore, and all the mainstream media we know is corrupt, and I've documented that for years, and it's absolutely confirmed. If you don't know that, then please look into that, and don't get all your sources from the mainstream, because they will tell you they're not corrupt. They are. The mainstream is terribly corrupt. The CNN is just, it's lies. They may tell the truth here and there when it's convenient, but it's mostly just made up. It's all just made up. It's what they want you to see and what they want you to know and what you want you to think. And it's been that way for a long time. And so we can't trust the mainstream, but that doesn't mean you can automatically trust people who aren't mainstream, right? That's logic. That's just how it is. If you can't trust mainstream. A lot of people think that means that you can trust non-mainstream. No, that doesn't mean anything about whether you can trust or not trust non-mainstream. You have to determine that for yourself if someone's trustworthy or not. Is what they're saying ringing true? Is what they're saying make sense? Is it consistent with other things they've said? How long have they been around? Are they, do they have any major baggage or hang-ups or things that they can't see that is causing them to be sources of bad information? One source of that, for example, is intellectual dishonesty. Are they intellectually dishonest? Do they not include information that's important that would not make their case or whatever? Do they try just to be right, or are they actually searching for the truth? This is important. You have to ask these things about the people that you are getting information from, or your information's not going to be good. And if your information's not good, you don't know what the world around you is like, and you can't make good decisions, and you're going to end up in a bad place. That's my opinion. But that's how I feel about information today. It's important to know the truth. And it's going to be even more important going forward. This really is an information war. And they really are censoring sources of the truth. It's scary, but that's really what's happening right now. The truth is being censored. And if you don't think that's a problem, you're done. You're done. You are so up for grabs and lost if you don't believe that what is true and what is real matters. Sure, the truth has been, that word has been overused, but it is still a real word. There are still, things either are true or not, and it does matter what is true. So, just because that word's been overused, don't fall into that camp of, oh, we don't know what's true anymore and everything can be true or untrue. No. 2 + 2 really is 4. It really is. And no amount of saying that we don't know what's true anymore is going to change that. It really is 4. So the mainstream is corrupt, and not everybody in the non-mainstream, i.e. the alternative media, is truthful. That's just how it is, unfortunately. And there's a bit of money coming in now into alternative media. If you haven't noticed, there's people out there with, say, Patreons, PayPals, all kinds of different routes of getting money, monetizing their content. And I believe in monetizing content, and I'm trying currently to figure out how I'm going to do that. And I would love to pay some bills of my own with the content that I produce, which is in demand, other than the fact that it's shadow banned, but even so, it's in demand. And I would love to be able to do that, and I've been trying since 2012 to introduce my subscribers to the idea of helping support the channel. And I was called horrible names at first in 2012 when I first suggested that. And then since then, that is now the norm. You don't watch a video anymore without someone either at the beginning, in the middle, or in the end saying, well, just a reminder, guys, you got to keep supporting these channels, especially me. Send in your money, send in your super chats. By the way, thanks to Dave and Joe and Sammy and Billy, and everybody's making money, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's not, and I'm not jealous of that. That's good. It is good. But when money comes in, so does corruption. It just does. And that's why there hasn't been much corruption in the alternative media up till this point. There's not really any money in it. But now there's money in it. And, like I said, it's an info war, and it's getting more intense as we go. So controlling the narrative is becoming more and more important, especially as we come to this 2020 election in the US. They're definitely silencing, quote, conservative voices, which I guess I've been lumped into and banned off of Facebook and censored on YouTube and everywhere else. I guess I'm considered conservative because I believe in rights. I believe in truth, and that's sort of lumping me in there, I guess. But it's sad when the truth is being censored, and these certain voices in the alternative media are getting pushed to the forefront, and they're not really, they're saying, oh, I'm getting shadow banned and stuff, and yes, I'm sure they are as well, but not as much as the truth. Because these channels often don't have the truth, and they're just reporting. They're having, a lot of these channels have guests on, and they are not themselves experts in anything, except maybe in uploading videos and managing the comments section and doing interviews and that kind of thing, which is an important skill as well. But what I'm saying is these people often are not the experts on topics. And some of these people in alternative, quote, media, I believe, are not after the truth on topics. And I'm going to name some names here in a minute. But what these channels are doing is they're uploading support for the legalized cannabis regime. And they're not covering the truth about that, which is that legalization is a lie. And that has been documented and proven. And I have done those videos for years and done those posts and analysis and behind the scenes in-depth exposés of BC's black market cannabis industry. I've been involved. I've been involved as an activist. I've been involved as a participant from all sides, etc. And I know everybody who is in BC. So this is, it's a huge, huge industry / culture that's underground, and it's being decimated by legalization, which is putting peaceful activists, gardeners, and patients in prison for 14 years for these plants. These beautiful, lovely green plants that produce buds that have cannabinoids that cure cancer, PTSD, chronic pain, and so many other things. And basically take down big pharma, big tobacco, big agriculture. A lot of these things go away. Wars go away even if you can properly end the prohibition of cannabis and hemp, which is the fiber in the cannabis plant. These things are restricted. The medicine and the hemp, the fiber, is all restricted still. Even though they talk about decriminalizing and stuff, it's not happening. It's legalizing. They're just controlling it. They're just profiting off it. They're just destroying the culture. And it's disgusting to watch, and it's been disgusting to be a part of, and now it's disgusting to have channels like Dan Dix of Press for Truth coming out now and supporting legalization. He himself has a friend, Chad, who was raided recently. You may have even seen on his channel a live broadcast at Chad's dispensary in Squamish, BC, as the police were taking away the Community Safety Unit, Orwellian named bullshit alphabet agency now here that has warrantless powers of warrantless search and seizure in Canada for the first time ever now because of legalization. The police can come in to your business, to your house, to your car, to your pockets, your backpack, anywhere they want in Canada and search for cannabis, or just say they're searching for cannabis, and whatever they find that is illegal they report. And these people can now search just because, oh, well, you're an activist, you're a cannabis activist, you're a patient, you're a whatever, you're a user, we know you, any reason. Oh, I smell it. Whatever. They're in your house, and they can do whatever they want. And if you have anything that's not government, like these 4 plants here, they can take it, and they can take you, and you can go to prison for 14 years. This is legalization in Canada. It's to control the market and to criminalize the opposition to the government's sale of weed, the government's sale of cannabis, which is terrible cannabis. Terrible. It's failing. The cannabis stocks in Canada have crashed in the past year and a half, and part of the reason for that is this whole scheme. People are realizing, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. It's terrible cannabis. Why are we getting the government to grow for us? We've had great cannabis in Canada for decades, for generations. It didn't make any sense why we legalized. We just wanted to end prohibition, but we didn't do that. We recriminalized cannabis. It's worse now than it ever has been, and I've documented this for years, and I warned about it long before it even happened. And I was told to shut up, that I was paranoid. I was right. And these guys now, like Dan Dix, like Josh Sigurdsson of World Alternative Media, and like the anarcho-capitalist himself, Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante, all these guys are now shilling for legalized cannabis businesses. And for example, in Jeff's case, he says, that, oh, this is my anarcho side coming out, because he's an anarcho-capitalist. Or no, he says, this is my capitalist side coming out. I believe in capitalism. You believe in capitalism at the expense of growing the state and supporting the state and crushing the people? That's nothing to do with anarchism. Anarchism does not sacrifice the people's rights to make a buck. That's not what anarcho-capitalism is. And if it is, Jeff, then you're fucked. You're out of here. You're not part of this community anymore. You cannot profit off of us and contribute to cannabis users going to jail. Well, your girlfriend, your wife or whatever, is supposedly a daily cannabis user herself. Oh, we're buying legal cannabis now. What are you buying legal cannabis for, Jeff? You're supporting the government. You're paying taxes. You're growing the state. Why do you call yourself an anarchist? There's people going to prison. You're supporting a prison industrial complex. This has been documented, and I have shown you and told you. They just delete my comments or hide my comments or don't respond to my comments when I tell these guys this. I invited Dan Dix to the 420 Cannabis Farmers Markets in Vancouver, a grassroots-run, volunteer-run group that I started 3 years before it was shut down violently to make way for legalization, and I documented the whole process. We gave away and sold at cost cannabis extracts, high-dose edibles, and weed on the street for 3 years in Vancouver on Robson Street, right in the downtown heart, basically in downtown world, basically downtown Earth, as everyone from the Earth basically passed by. Tourists from everywhere, business people from everywhere, people from every walk of life came, and we gave cannabis to them. And we had no problems there. And I invited Dan down, and I said, you know what, they're going to shut this down to make way for legalization. They can't have people doing this. This shows that their legalization is a scam. They're going to shut this down violently. Please come and document it while it's still around, because this is an amazing thing, and people are coming from all around Canada and the US to be here at this market, to be participants in this 420 market. And it was a beautiful, amazing thing. He ignored me and he would not show up. And now he's pretending his friend Dan has lost his house. He's losing his family, he's losing his pets, his cryptos, his silver, his house, I said, his business, his dispensary, his patients that he's been keeping alive. All that's ruined because of legalization. Dan documented that. He showed it live happening. And now he's shilling. He's having these people on his channel, these people that are obvious corporate whores from the legalized cannabis world, and it makes me sick. It makes me sad, because he knows better, and he can tell he's trying to steer the conversation away when this lady's talking about, oh, we're going to make trillions off of CBD, and we're going to legalize mushrooms the way we legalized weed. What a nightmare. Yes, we want mushrooms. Yes, we want cannabis. No, we don't want legalization. That's government control. And these anarchists, these truthers, these freedom fighters are all now lumping into it. All these guys, Dan Dix, Jeff Berwick, Josh Sigurdson, and more, all these alternative people, these mainstream alternative media channels, right? These mainstream alternative media channels, because they're alternative, because they're not with the MSM, mainstream media, but they become the mainstream of alternative media. And yes, they're soaking up the dollars. There's no money out there. Trust me, there's no money out there for anyone other than these four guys and maybe 2 or 3 others at the very top of this alternative media. You think anyone's making anything? No, it's just these like maybe 6-10 people that are making money and complaining about how little money they make. Like Josh Sigurdson, for example. I sent him $4 worth of Bitcoin a couple months ago because he told me he was going to be on the street, literally. He said, I'm going to be on the street, I'm going to lose my channel, I'm going to lose my computers, everything. It's lost unless I get X number of dollars right now. And I had $4 to send him, and I did. And he didn't even say thank you. Didn't hear from him at all. He just ignored me. Not that $4 is a lot, but that's a lot for me. That's more than I've made in my entire career doing what he does, doing it better than he does even, I must say, about a lot of topics, for example, cannabis. But I can't make $1. I cannot make $1. I can't make a 0.0001 of a Bitcoin, right? Because there's no money in this, and I'm a completely shadow banned person on social media, on the internet. Because I've been right the whole time. And these guys that haven't been right the whole time, or haven't even been around for very long, are now out here shilling for legalized cannabis and growing the state and empowering the state and basically supporting the mainstream media's narrative on cannabis and prohibition and legalization. So please be aware that A, legalization is a lie. All legalization is a lie. Nothing needs to be legalized. That's state bullshit. That's statist garbage. Don't legalize. We don't want corporate control over cannabis. That's what happened to tobacco. That's what happened to alcohol. Is tobacco healthy for us? No. It's legal, though. It's legal. They're making a killing off it, and they want to continue. The whole vape crisis was manufactured by the tobacco companies to keep people smoking tobacco, keep them away from cannabis, keep them away from vapor, keep them away from the black market, keep them in the legal market. Cigarettes. If you want to put something in your mouth, better be a cigarette, right? That's cancer right there. You know that. Cannabis is the cure for cancer. This is so backwards and so Orwellian. And if you look into it, you know I am telling you the truth. Every word is the truth. And you can look up all these things, and please challenge me on it. Challenge me on anything I say. I'm not trying to lie to you, and I'm not trying to be intellectually dishonest, and I don't have an agenda other than freedom for the people, liberty. I'm not trying to make a buck. I would love to be able to pay my bills doing this, but I can't. I can't. These guys are sucking up all the money And I don't think it's the truth anymore. I think a lot of these guys are mainstream alternative media, and that's my message today. And I'm sorry it went so long, but I think it was a very important topic, and it's something I had to really get off my chest. So this is the video portion of a post I'm going to be doing. I will be writing up a blog post about this with pictures and stuff to back it up as well, but this is just the audio and video portion so that I could get that off my chest, because it's important what is true. And we're getting our information about the world from these alternative media channels now. We're getting our information about what is going on in finances, what's going on in politics, what's going on in culture, what's happening with the state of censorship and privacy and all these things. We're learning from these people all these important topics, and what's going on with legalization of substances, for example, and the prison industrial complex and vaccines and everything. We're learning all this stuff from alternative media now. And that's scary, because some of them have become mainstream alternative media. They're not alternative. They're not focused on the truth anymore. They're focused on monetization of their channel and growing their channel and keeping their reputation going. And it's really not about a search for the truth for a lot of these people anymore. And that is sad, because I've supported them. I've supported these alternative channels, and I've linked people to them for a decade now or more, a lot of these people. And now I'm having to come out and basically blow the whistle and say, you know what? I am the cannabis expert here. These guys are not. I'm not an expert in everything, and I bow to them when they are the expert on something. But I am the cannabis expert in alternative media. Go ahead and challenge that if you can. If you think that you are, or if you think someone else is, then let me know. But I know what I'm talking about here, and I know that these guys are lying to the public, and that has exposed them to me. I have seen through them. I see through that they are now, maybe always were, or maybe not, I don't know, but they're at least now controlled and not to be trusted. And that's scary. But we have to go on from here and realize not all alternative media is trustworthy alternative media. Some of them have become mainstream, and some of them have major agendas and are taking money from somewhere. So just be aware of that, and please spread this to anyone you think that it might be useful for and that it might help. And I mean no personal offense to anyone with this. I am truly, honestly, just on a search for the truth. This is what I believe to be true. Talk to you soon.